We'll start with tonight's presentation. So just to let you know, guys, this session will be recorded and it will be available later for later viewing. So if you need to duck out, don't worry, we can send you the recording after. Just a little bit of housekeeping. If you can just keep your microphones on mute throughout the presentation, there will be chance for more Q&A. But just for the time being, while we present, we would just appreciate if you keep your microphones on mute so you don't have to worry about any background noise. So for today's agenda, we're going to go through a little bit about us and what we do at TrainSmart Australia. We're also going to hear from Tracy Ann, who's going to be presenting this Diploma of Counselling information session. And we're going to go through why you would want to choose to study a Diploma of Counselling course. We're going to discover, is a Diploma of Counselling course for you, or is a career in counselling for you? And some of the skills that you will need to become a professional counsellor. Just a bit of overview about TrainSmart Australia. So we've been an education provider since 2005. All of our courses are nationally approved and accredited, and they're nationally recognised. So all of our qualifications, no matter what qualification you choose with us, they're all recognised by employers, government, industry bodies all across Australia. In 2007, we started specialising in counselling, community services, AOD and mental health courses, as well as youth work. And from then, we've been a driving force in the training field for training allied health professionals. And since the time we first established, we've had over 20,000 graduates. So why did students choose TrainSmart Australia? Well, we attract a lot of different types of students from different backgrounds. But if we had to summarise, we kind of group them into three different types of people. So we attract a lot of people who have lived experiences, people who have experienced either personal trauma or have personally viewed things in mental health or counselling, who want to take that experience and explore that more and study and turn that into a career pathway. We also attract a lot of students who currently work in mental health and who are seeking a qualification to have their previous experience recognised formally. And we also attract a lot of students who, decide that they want a career change. They've worked, for a long period of time in a career, but they thought, I want to give back. I want to find a more meaningful career. So we get a lot of students who come to us and share that story with us and want to get into a career where it's all about giving back and helping other people. Students also love our support that we provide. So we provide a lot of online support and training, and a lot of our training is one-on-one as well. And students really enjoy our practical learning and our trainer feedback from our experienced trainers. So you're getting experience and learning from people who've actually lived it, who've actually got their own practices, and students value that a lot. Students also like to choose to study with us because our courses offer direct pathways into university. So we'll later discover that this course, our Diploma of Counselling course, can provide an entrance pathway into a Bachelor of Counselling. And the other big thing about us is we offer great funding options like vet student loans, which allows our students to study with no upfront costs and pay for their course after they start earning. As I mentioned before, one of the things that we like to highlight is our exceptional student support that students get throughout TrainSmart Australia, all the way from the career advice, from bringing their career goals, aspirations, and our career advisors exploring that with you, to also our student support team and our DOS team and our trainers providing regular check-ins, so you're never alone during the course, and also weekly live classes that students can join. We'd just like to highlight that for those who might know a little bit about us, we are headquartered here in WA, but we are a national course provider and we have students all across Australia. And as I mentioned, we started specialising in counselling and mental health courses back in 2007. And since then, we've developed a number of key partnerships with organisations all across Australia to provide work placement opportunities and also training to our industry. So we're recognised all across Australia by other organisations as well. Now, at the heart of what we do here at TrainSmart Australia is to help students become job ready. So we do that with our free career advice, our coaching and feedback, our Purpose Practical Studio, which we'll get into a little bit later in today's presentation. And also we have a focus on employability skills development. So making sure that students are ready for a career in counselling or mental health. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Tracy, who's going to take over the rest of this presentation. Thanks, Tracy.
So I've been with TrainSmart for a few years now, and some of you already know me because I work in the mental health side of teaching as well as counselling, so I may have met you there. I've been teaching for just over 2 decades, so I don't want to give away the age though. So it didn't start in community service area, it started in accounting. So I know all about career change, as Randall was saying, that's for sure. But really love teaching in the community services sector, and I'm a counsellor as well. So I've been counselling in my own practice for 12 years now and love that. So I really have a passion for helping people, but on top of that, helping others to help people. Because working in the industry, you know, I've met a couple of, you know, organisations, dealt with a couple of organisations where, yeah, there needs to be workers that are far more dedicated and skilled, equipped to really effectively help people in vulnerable positions. And that's why I'm here. I want to continue to do that and share experience with you from my counselling job as well, so that it's like, you know, real life experiences that you get to hear about and learn from. And yeah, so in my spare time, yes, I do like my footy, although my season is over because I'm an NRL person and the Roosters just got booted out. So sad news, but never mind. So yes, I live on the coast in New South Wales near beautiful Diamond Beach. And so I do like going to the beach. When it warms up, I'll be there. Yeah, so enough about me though. Mum of 4 and grandma of 13, so pretty busy because I'm full-time here with TrainSmart and counselling part-time as well. So yeah, but I love it, very passionate about it. So it's good that you're here. I'm excited. Thank you. So why choose counselling? I know when I first started, I was managing an RTO and I wanted to help my students. And I noticed that we do have a teacher here who's thinking the same, you know. Although I was teaching and managing, I had a lot of students coming to talk to me, you know. And you may find that people are coming to talk to you about personal concerns or work concerns, you know, career concerns. And they find that you're easy to talk to, okay? They see you as approachable and able to open up to you more than someone else, perhaps. So that's another reason why people feel that counselling is a good fit for them. People trust you with their concerns, you know? Yeah, so if you've got an interest in human behaviour, why people do what they do and how people manage change and recovery, this is a really good course for you, okay? And if you're passionate about making a real difference for someone, once again, you know, counselling has helped me to help others. So many people are so appreciative and it's very rewarding work. So there's a number of reasons why you may be thinking about being here. Yeah, Thanks, Randall. So, as I said, there's a lot of common reasons why people, choose counselling. One of those is that you might have lived experience. And although I myself have lived in experience in a couple of these areas, that wasn't the reason I started, but it's certainly given me a platform to be able to, put myself, see another perspective from my clients, okay? Because, walked a similar path kind of thing. So yeah, maybe you have, lived experience too. And definitely if that's the case and you've been through your recovery, you are really going to be able to help others going through the same similar situations. Of course, everyone's experience is a little different, but people will resonate with you if you've had that. So yeah, it's about mental illness. It could be that you've had in the past or still yourself, domestic violence you may have been through, any one of these areas, there are a couple of others, of course, but mainly those ones. Yeah, definitely you may be interested in helping people with different cultures, diversity as well in the counselling realm. That's another path to go down. So definitely I do a lot of work with trauma as well, post-traumatic stress disorder or past, childhood abuse, and anger management is a really big area too. So definitely I will be able to share experiences of those with you and the trainers, other trainers as well who are counsellors in TrainSmart with me. So yeah, valuable knowledge that you'll gain. Thanks, Randall. So what is counselling? I thought we'd put in here just a little snapshot, just so we know what really, counselling is about. Is this course going to get me to what I want as far as work goes? It is a helping service. It's a talk therapy to help support clients, to help them gain awareness perhaps, and gain insight to resolve some of their problems, okay, and perhaps bring about change. So it's definitely one-on-one support. If you were a counsellor, you would be giving one-on-one support for your clients, whatever situation they're going through in life at the present time, and not always in the present time, but perhaps in the past that's impacting their present, okay, their present lifestyle. So it could definitely, it's a professional activity. If once you have your qualification, you're a professional counsellor, and you would have learnt lots of skills and theories, techniques, strategies to help a client really deal with change, which is a big thing. We're here to guide and help people through change. And we don't obviously do things for them. We can't do the change for them, but we certainly help guide that change. And it's a safe space. So when we're dealing one-on-one with people, it's definitely the environment, psychological safety, not just physical safety, that we want to ensure the client has. So we definitely teach about that as well. And counselling is not about rescuing people. It's about listening and supporting people and, offering strategies and coping skills. We're not there to fix their problems, although they would love you to, or to rescue people or enable them. Okay, it's about support. But there are special skills and techniques to help do that effectively. Okay, so you can work as a counsellor or counselling skills, not just in a private practice. These skills are used by paramedics, nurses, all sort of walks of life, in schools, and we'll look at some of those soon. So definitely the skills in this course is not just limited to having a private practice as a counsellor. There are other areas as well. Now, the type of support that you will be learning about and be able to help clients with a vast and various many things. Some of these areas you'll see listed here, you'll definitely be learning the knowledge and skills for. However, there are some that are more specialised than others, and you are definitely going to get the basic platform. And if you want to go on further, say for instance, addiction management, you know, you can from here then go and do a little bit of further study to help you gain the skills and knowledge you need to specialise. Okay, so there are some specialised areas here, but definitely a lot of these is what we'll be discussing and learning about in the course if you were to undertake it. So the types of counselling these concerns fall into, yeah, there's a number. If you've ever been to have counselling yourself, you may have gone to have a particular type of counselling. So when someone loses a loved one, they may go and seek supportive counselling for grief and loss, okay? Even losing a job is a type of loss that someone appreciates supportive counselling for. Then you have informative counselling, and that could be, you know, people might be supporting a family member. I've had parents who have come to counselling and want some information about how they can help their child who's, you know, maybe dabbled in drugs or any other illness perhaps, and they would just like support and information in how to help someone in their family or a friend. Yes, for themselves as well, definitely. And educational counselling. So there are career counsellors, and they can help you and other people to, you know, get through a particular pathway, discuss what their interests are, what their passions are, what sort of skills they have from other career path that they may have been in or other jobs they've been in, that they can actually transfer into a new career. And so there's educational counselling. We also, like I say, in informative counselling, provide a little bit of education on different topics, okay, but not on careers itself. Crisis counselling is a very important and specialised area. However, this course will discuss and there is a unit on crisis counselling and helping people through crisis intervention. So we're definitely going to be touching on that in course, but it is one of those areas where you can go into further if that's something that interests you, okay? But we definitely touch on it. And post-trauma counselling, as I mentioned, that's the kind of work I do like to do, where I have adults coming to see me who have been through either, you know, child traumas, assault, and all sorts of things from their past. And we use what we call psychodynamic therapy to help them through that. And because it does affect the present if they've not worked through it or recovered from it. And it can affect their future as well. So that's another type of counselling. Of course, it's not always post-trauma. Sometimes there are clients who will seek out counselling for trauma that's very recent. It's not past, it's very recent. And rather than wait long term, the sooner someone gets first aid, it's like you break your leg, the sooner you can get some first aid to you, the better. And so it is with psychological help as well. When there is an incident, we've seen with disasters, you know, floods and fires, that they send professionals in as soon as possible, because that psychological first aid is very important as soon as possible too. But unfortunately, it's not always available. So that's where we have post-trauma counselling as well. Okay, counselling and spiritual distress. So that could be another specialised area. Emotional distress as well. Stress itself, anxiety. Many people seek out counselling for that. And it's a type of work that we definitely touch on in the course as well. And some people prefer to stick to a certain type of counselling rather than all sorts. Okay, so someone might prefer to be a career counsellor, and although do the same basic course though, you know, to get the diploma, it's a choice that people sometimes make, you know, to just stick to the one area, and that's fine. Yeah, I like to use a number of different types of therapies, solution focus for people with problems they want to solve, cognitive behavior for people who are really struggling with irrational thoughts and anxiety, depression. So there are different therapies that this course teaches us about to help with these different types of counselling. Okay. So one thing that's very important to look at, and I'm sure if you look at this list here, you can see quite a number of the things that, qualities that you have yourself to be equipped, you know, to be an effective counsellor. So that's awesome. And 99% of my students I've had over the years have a passion to help other people. And they are empathic, you know, they really care, they genuinely care. And that's such an important quality to have to help others. And so if you look at some of these, be patient and tolerant, because we don't rush and we don't coerce our clients and expect change to happen overnight. And so important that we do not judge. Our clients already, you know, when they come to see a counsellor, already have judgment issues from others, from their family, friends, other people, even in the workplace, you know, and they're coming to a counsellor, entrust them with their story, and when they, you know, provide that, they certainly do not want a judgment in the counselling room. It's a safe space to share things, even when someone feels they've done wrong to someone else and made mistakes, that sort of thing. We don't judge. Okay, so that's something, you know, to think about if you know, you're definitely wanting to do the course, and maybe you've had a little, you know, let's be honest, maybe we've struggled in the past to, oh, look at that guy over there, look what he's doing, look what he's wearing, you know. So a lot of that we're going to learn about values and biases and prejudice and all those sorts of things in the course too. Yes, it's definitely about being genuine and positive, and it's, you know, counselling is not just about sad stories. There are some, yes, but it's so rewarding to see people change their lives around, you know, and they have belief in themselves again and those sorts of things. So really good. Communication, big part of the course, doing a lot of discussion about communication. You've been learning lots of skills, not just listening skills, but that's one of the very, well, most important ones amongst others. And yeah, using your discretion and, you know, having integrity, so being transparent when you don't know something, it's okay. So being transparent is important. Yeah, wanting to reflect on yourself too, and these qualities in areas where we can improve, you know. So yeah, it's a real benefit if these qualities, they're organized. I know that one could be one area where, you know, you're going to learn a few skills about how to organize yourself in the work. You're certainly going to learn how to do it in your studies, because myself and other trainers and coaches are here to help you organize yourself through the course too, to get it accomplished. So, is that all you need to become a counsellor? Just to have some good qualities? You know, I mean, they're great. Definitely, you know, it's beneficial to have these qualities to be an effective counsellor, but it's not all we need, okay? We also need to be equipped to handle complex needs of clients. So I'm going to share this. This is a case where I did help somebody, a young girl. So Sandra lost her mother. Her name's not Sandra, but Sandra lost her mother at the age of 8 to cancer. She struggled with this most of her life. And Sandra's sister was also deeply impacted by her mother's death, which left her battling depression and suicidal ideation for the last 11 years. Since the passing of their mother, Sandra's formed a good relationship with her stepmother and father. She more recently has moved away from home to study at a university, but she's found herself feeling isolated, and wounds from her past have reopened. That hurt and pain has reopened, and it's leading her to feel anxious and experience suicidal thoughts herself. Now, this Sandra comes from, like I say, a loving home. She had a really good job. You know, she said to me, I don't know why I've got so much going for me. I want for nothing, you know. Yeah, yet this is the experience she's having. So amongst those qualities that we have as a counsellor, is that going to be enough to help someone who's going through something like this? Have a think for a moment. You might be thinking, oh my goodness, where do I begin with this? You know, how would I deal with this? Well, this course is going to help you to learn how to intervene and help someone, because so many young people are facing this right now. And not just young people, of course, but I've had as young as 9 years of age in a similar experience, except, you know, it was over her parents' divorce and breakup and things like that. But at the age of 9, and it's, yeah, very important that we have the right skills to be able to help someone who's really hurting like this, okay, for safety reasons, to provide the right support and strategies to cope with what they're going through and to move forward from it and recover. Also, what services perhaps they need as well as yourself as a counsellor. And we use a strength-based approach and a person-centered approach at all times, so you'll be learning about those. And last, you know, but not least, that security to be able to go on with life stronger and be able to transfer what they've learnt in the counselling room to their actual life outside of the counselling room, so they're not fully dependent on you. So there are a lot of complex cases that where people do go to counselling. Usually that's when they go. Usually when there's a start of a problem or a concern or a need someone has, they try to deal with it on their own, and that's fair enough. Or they might get some friends to help them or a family member. And usually they come to a counsellor once they've really exhausted all other avenues and struggling, you know, right now. So that's where it can be complex. Okay. Just some food for thought there. So it's about becoming a professional counsellor where you can really make a difference for people's lives, you know. This course is going to help you too to become a professional counsellor, okay? It's those must-have skills that, you know, it's going to offer you, as well as the qualities, those sorts of things. It's about really having the knowledge and skills, really being genuinely interested in helping people, and you having support as well as you do that, because it can be draining at times difficult. So self-care and self-support is very important. So some of those things that, you know, the course is going to teach and offer is to understand the legal and ethical obligations when you are helping vulnerable people, because there are definitely legal and ethical obligations to uphold. How to build that, you know, trusting relationship with someone. People aren't just going to come to see you and automatically just trust you straight away. No, that is something you need to build upon. Okay, so you'll learn that. Understanding different theories that, you know, will help in the practice that you do, in the work that you do, in understanding your client's predicament, really understanding and helping them understand it, giving them awareness, you know. Just a short little example is someone who is brought up in a home where they're neglected perhaps and or abused. You know, one of the theories we look at is Maslow's hierarchy, nature-nurture theories, different models that teach us how that affects a child, an infant and a child, a toddler, and going through the ages of their development, and how it affects them emotionally, not just physically, so physically, emotionally, psychologically, how it affects them at their development in learning, their thinking, their cognitive thinking, their behaviours. You know, so many children in schools today have certain aggressive or dysfunctional behaviours, and it comes from somewhere. So the course teaches you the basis of that. So understanding those theories and how to put them into practice with the client. Understand how people process their emotions, and you may be there to help regulate their emotions. I remember doing, you know, anger management with a few guys for a year or two, and it was wonderful work to see how that anger, which is just an emotion like sadness, totally okay, anger's fine to have, but the behaviors that come with it, and when those emotions are regulated and worked through and past concerns are worked through, how it, you know, I've had a wife ring me up and say, what have you done to my husband? Who is he? He's a different person, you know, just so appreciative of, you know, the work. And I said, I didn't do anything. He's done the work, not me. But we help guide that, you know, and facilitate that, and it's wonderful. So we guide people struggling to work through those emotions. We identify areas where change is needed. I've had clients, not many, but some clients come to see me and say, I don't know what's wrong. I just don't know. I just feel like this, or I'm doing this, you know, or I've been thinking about this, and they don't really know where it's stemming from, okay, and what is the hindrance there or what needs to be changed. And we can help with that. We definitely use a person-centered approach. So the client is key, you know, it's about them, not us. It means we will show genuineness and wanting to help them. We will be empathic, and definitely we will not be judgmental. We will believe that our clients are capable of helping themselves with guidance. We don't have to do it for them. Person-centered is about, I'm here to help support you, as a trainer would do, you know, for you as a student. You've got to do the work, but I'm certainly here to support you and guide you through it. So develop counselling treatment plans. That might be something else that you will be doing. Definitely for, you know, young Sandra there in that little scenario we shared, I had a commitment agreement plan together for her to, because, you know, she was having suicidal thoughts and she did have plans in place. So it's about having, you know, a treatment plan made up where they will agree to do certain things and be in touch with you if they go off the rails a little bit, where you can be there to help intervene. So yes, you may be doing those sorts of things. I will be definitely doing that in the course as well. Absolutely. So it's about knowledge and skills, you with the passion and drive to want to help people, and you getting support yourself is what's going to make a professional counsellor to be really effective. So let's hear from you for a bit. I heard enough from me for a moment. What led you to want to gain skills in counselling, or interested in doing this course to get skills in counselling? We did have a few from the beginning there, which was wonderful. And so that's really good. It definitely is an add-on to mental health and youth work, perhaps, or alcohol, other drugs. Is that the area you'd like to specialise in? Definitely lived experiences, yes. Yeah. And that's wonderful that you have seen, Rosie, how counselling has helped you. And you know that the purpose of it, how amazing it is and how important it is. And you can do likewise. That's wonderful. Anybody else like to share?
I suppose for me, it's, you know, my husband. And as I said earlier, he wants to do this as well. And he wants to help others that have been in his position. You know, being a veteran, it's hard to find a counsellor that actually has some sort of understanding as to what they've been through. Absolutely.
And that's a good point too. It's another type of counselling is expressive, you know, therapy, where I had a dear student who just passed away just recently, a few weeks ago, and she was doing equine therapy with the horses. And she was working with veterans, you know, and her and her husband had a big farm. So they were able to have them visit with the horses, work with the horses. And she had, you know, got her qualification as well. Wonderful, wonderful work for particular clientele. So yes, thanks for sharing that. And Wayne, been in youth disability and coaching industry, so enjoy that type of work. Excellent, excellent, that's good. You already know that, you know, this is the area for you in helping others. So how do you think your background will help you with, you know, your future career as a professional counsellor then? Because you can transfer skills from, you know, working with youth, definitely, and disabilities and veterans, absolutely, etc. Yeah, for the future career in counselling.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting because being in the youth and disability field before, this is sort of like the sort of industry sort of 10, 15 years ago, it was very much about what's wrong and let's just stick to the boundaries of what that's about, which was okay, but it's quite limiting. Then coming to the coaching realm, it was like, well, what do you want? And that really aligned a lot more with what, I guess, what lights me up. So then coming back into the mental health realm, it was about, you know, solution focused and, you know, what are the goals and recovery. So I can see the industry's progressed quite nicely more to that. So it's quite interesting to feel that, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's good to hear. Thanks for sharing, Wayne. And yes, surely it. Lived experience, gained skills, helping family and friends. Absolutely. I mean, I told you that the reason I did the course myself was to help my students, but boy, did it help myself and my son as well. It does. It helps. It's not a healing course, no, but an add-on is that, you know, you learn things about yourself and for yourself as well while you're doing the course, and skills that you can use in everyday life. It's not just about in the counselling room, it's about a way of life, you know. So thanks for sharing that. No others before we move on? That's okay. Thank you.
Tracy, my husband's got something to say now.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Well,
Hi there.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul.
Hi, Paul.
As my wife said, I'm a veteran. The main thing for me is I've been through a trauma recovery program. It's a long road back from being damaged.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm currently involved in a veteran group that specialises in assisting with the physical needs. So homelessness, things like that, but already having a baseline from the mental health side of things. I think having that knowledge and understanding is just going to make it easier for other veterans. So
that's it. Exactly. Thank you for your service first and foremost. That's okay. And definitely having the skills to know how to effectively help someone, not just physically with the homeless side of things, but that it definitely affects people emotionally as well and psychologically. So yes, really good to hear. And I hope you do the course, Paul. Awesome.
I will be, most definitely.
Oh, good. Lovely to hear.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing. Wanting to give vulnerable demographics the support they deserve. Absolutely. I'm not sure if it's Eliza. Yeah, thank you. Definitely. There's so many vulnerable groups there, you know, who need our assistance. So, and we've been part of that ourselves, perhaps. So, you know, yes, they do deserve it. Absolutely. All right. So, moving on. This course itself, it's for people who are genuinely serious about working in the field of helping others, okay, and becoming a counsellor or even going on to do further study. All right. So yes, I had the diploma in counselling, then I did mental health because of the clientele that was coming to see me, you know, and then years later, I wanted to go into couple therapy and relationship family therapy. So the graduate diploma in that. And you don't have to go and do these things, but if you've got a career path and, you know, in counselling, this is the basic first step. And this is, you know, a platform for you to get started and help people. And you don't need to go further if that's not what you wish. However, it is advised to keep your skills current and your knowledge current. But yeah, you may find that, wow, you know, I've got so many clients or demographic in my area that, because definitely where I live here, there are no counsellors for marriage counsellors or, you know, divorce, separation, that sort of thing. Many family therapists in the area. So I thought, well, okay, there's a need. I'll go into that area, and it's challenging, but I love it, you know, because it's rewarding as well. You're not just helping people stay together. That's their decision, of course, at the end of the day. But even when people do decide to separate, it's wonderful to see them do it amicably and with the children's best interests at heart, those sorts of things. So yes, there's different types, you know, there's another type of counselling. So the students serious about wanting to, you know, start your own practice, as I did 12 years ago, it's possible. And it can also take you on to further studies in a Bachelor of Counselling. And there are many colleges out there that will give you the first year credited, units credited from going from the diploma to the degree. So that's something to keep in mind too. And the course goes for 12 months, 1 year, and you'll be given an assessment plan to keep you within that time frame, that duration. And of course, we know that life throws us curveballs at times. Sometimes it throws grenades, you know. So we're here to help you through that, okay, as best we can. And there are 17 subjects or units that you will be doing in this course if you sign up. And we'll have a look in a moment of what they sort of consist of. There is no work placement in the Diploma of Counselling. There is, however, we'll explain soon what there is in place of work placement. Okay, so you don't need to go and get so many hours on the job while you're doing the course. Okay. Now, some of those outcomes to achieve, as I mentioned, we've broken them down into 4 pillars for you. And one of those first ones, pillar 1, is about the professional relationship, because you're not a friend. You know, clients come and you will chat to them. They may, you know, we like you, and we don't want them to become dependent on us, okay? So it's about facilitating that relationship, but it's still professional, friendly, but professional, and how the process of a counselling session goes, but also the whole process over when the client first comes to see you and stops coming to see you. Okay, so you'll definitely be learning about those relationships and the process, how it works. And the second pillar that we look at is about those theories and therapies I was mentioning before. You know, that the personality theories, how children and people develop those sort of theories that explain and give awareness to why behaviours are the way they are. And also it's about the legal ethical obligations too in that pillar as well. And then the third area, pillar of outcomes that we look at is providing, you know, for complex needs. So for those, you know, like Sandra, that scenario we looked at, those who have a range of different needs in either mental health or mental illness or alcohol, other drug concerns or issues, which most of the time is a coping mechanism for something else, be it mental illness, be it grief and loss, yes, those sorts of things. So you'll learn about that too. Definitely safety, looking at safely helping clients in the most effective way that we can, okay? And because, yes, we've, you know, we sort of have their lives in our hands when we're working with people who have suicidal thoughts, who have been through crisis, have post-traumatic stress disorder. We don't want to cause any further harm. So it's important that we, you know, look at all this knowledge and skills. So yeah, and the last one is about supporting people through, specifically through crisis intervention and grief and loss counselling, some stress as well, and trauma care. Okay, so we definitely do touch on that as well. So there's sort of the outcomes that you will be reaching when you go throughout the whole course. Okay. And then it's about not just knowledge, but how do we apply that knowledge? Okay. Yes, there's theory, you know, to learn about, absolutely. But what's really important about this course is that it's a vocational course. It's different to a, you know, university course. It's where you learn skills to be job ready. So yes, self-reflection is very important in counselling, because you do have a very important job in helping to, you know, mould people and help them through recovery and through change. So we want to make sure we're doing things correctly, and we can reflect on that. We can get supervision to help with reflecting on that, and self-care for us too, that we, especially if we've had lived experiences, we don't want to re-traumatize ourselves. So that's something we definitely touch on. Communication skills is a big area when it comes to skills and applying the knowledge, how we use the techniques, the communication techniques. There's quite a few that you'll be learning and putting into practice. I'll talk to you about how we put it into practice soon, but definitely a lot of communication. And then those therapies and theories I was telling you about, it's not just about learning about what they are, but how is that going to look? How is that going to play out in a session? You know, how is that going to be applied to a person and their story? So you definitely learn that. And then trauma-informed care, you want to effectively help someone through recovery and through a crisis situation. We use intervention steps for safety. So it's not just about knowledge once again, it's about, okay, how do I really do this with a client? So I'll be sharing, the trainers will be sharing lots of examples with you, but you will also get a chance to practice that yourself, okay? Yeah. Thanks, Ren. So basically, you know, we talked about the qualities, but to get to the end of the course, to get, you know, you may have decided, yes, this is what I want to do. So what's going to get you there to the finish line of those 17 units? Well, you know, if you are curious about human behaviour, this is going to be really interesting for you. And when you're really interested in something, it's not as difficult, is it, to get through? And another important thing for you to get through is to realise that this is, you know, not about our ego, about, you know, I'm going to fix this. How many people can I help? How many people am I going to solve all their world problems, you know? No, it's about learning a lot about yourself, to be humble, to be transparent, to, you know, really show those qualities that we were talking about before throughout the course as well as in your career. And then it's about self-motivation. I mean, we are here to encourage you and to support you, but we can't actually motivate you. That comes from within. I actually doing a little course for my students on that, actually, to help them with motivation. We want, you know, if you're open to learn new ways and about change, changing maladaptive, we call them, certain habits that are not functional, that are not good for us, you know, it's going to help yourself and you're getting through the course. And also, you don't need to do this alone, okay? So it's not about, I'm just going to do this online, stick to myself, don't need to go to classes, and I don't need to talk to anybody else. You know, what's really going to get you to the end of the course is to talk to others. Keep in touch, be connected with your trainers, with your peers if you can. You know, to have that hunger and passion to learn is really good. It's going to stay if you keep connected with others and do come to classes, and you will learn a lot more than just reading, okay? So definitely connection's important, participating, okay? And then something, you know, oh yes, what the course is, it is a tool, yeah, that teaches you how to interact with a diverse range of people. And that's not talking just about ethnicity and race, it's also talking about different sexual preferences, different, you know, genders, all sorts of types of diversity, and people with different levels of education and that sort of thing. It's a starting point. You know, if you want to open your own practice one day, this is perfect, you know, and you get to work for yourself. And that's awesome. And skills, it will give you skills, enable you to, you know, reach and help vulnerable people. As we mentioned, it is a stepping stone into university degree courses, be it in psychology or degree in counselling or social work. It's the minimum qualification to register as a counsellor, okay? There's no Cert 4, Cert 3, it's the minimum, it's the first basic step. And it's not, the course is not a qualification that, you know, teaches you how to diagnose somebody. Okay. And it's not about that type of treatment that a clinician would give, a doctor would give, or a surgeon, or you know, someone like that. But it definitely gives you a lot of tools to help people when they have been diagnosed by their doctor. As I mentioned, it's not a self-healing course. It's not here to help you start your recovery. No, it's more so, it does give you a bit of understanding of mental health, yes, and the positives and well-being for sure, and how to get through certain experiences. But first and foremost, working on your own lived experience recovery should happen first, okay? Comprehensive qualification, no, like I said, it doesn't go into relationship counselling. It's not about child psychology. It does give a lot of the basics and therapies to help people with anxiety, depression, and so forth. But there are those specialised areas I mentioned that, you know, you would need to go on to do if you're interested. Okay. Thanks, Randall. The difference, I mentioned that, you know, it's a stepping stone to the degree. The difference is, if you want to do your Diploma of Counselling, it's 12 months. You can have your qualification. There have even been students who have done it within 9, 10 months, okay? They're not working, may not have family commitments, that sort of thing. But yes, 12 months is the duration. Whereas, you know, if you start with a degree, going to university, and you don't have the credits, you're going to be there for 3 to 4 years to get that degree. The cost, definitely only a third of the cost of a degree, and actually 30,000. I've seen it for a lot more at certain colleges, the degree. The really good thing about Diploma of Counselling, it is practice learning. It is about skills, not just the knowledge, not just the theory. It's about applying that theory. Whereas a lot of the university courses are theory research based. Very similar salary from both. And yes, there is the pathway of this diploma to go into, like I said, counselling degree, psychology, and so forth. And once you do that, there's the pathway into going into the masters and the doctorate. Okay, so that's the differences between the two there. And definitely the when it comes to the assessments and the essays and doing those sorts of things, they are obviously far more in depth with a degree. So thanks, Randall. And as someone asked before, when it comes to the outcomes, the job at the end of the line that you may be interested in or would like to be in, what kind of jobs are available? Well, you know, some of the areas, like I said, counsellors work in is not just their own practice as a therapist. It could be in a mental health centre as a wellbeing practitioner. It could be with helping youth, okay? Yes, it's about coordinating, perhaps you're helping a case manager, perhaps a grief counsellor. There are many different areas where jobs are available for someone who is a counsellor. It's not just to have your own practice, however, that's a possibility. And then, of course, you know, if you do go on to do that further study, well, then there's those other opportunities for you as well to specialise in child therapy, or, you know, be a clinical psychologist, you know, or relationship counsellor like I've done. I've gone into that. So, yeah, definitely there are a number of different avenues available.
Great. Thanks, Tracy. I'm going to go through.
You're most welcome.
I'm going to go through the just the part about how you'll learn this course, the Diploma of Counselling, with us. So As we've previously mentioned, this course is delivered fully online, and we use our student portal called LearnSmart. And in there, in LearnSmart, you can access all of your course materials, webinars, learner guides, reading and journal articles. So all your course material is completely online. Frequently, the question that we get asked is, do I have to buy textbooks? No, it's all online, which is great. As Tracy previously touched on, we don't, compared to universities, we use a competency-based grading system. So what that basically means is when you answer a question in your assessments, you're either marked competent or not yet competent. Yeah, and the great thing is if you do get marked for not yet competent, we do give you an opportunity. Your trainer gives you feedback around that answer that you gave, and you're able to resubmit and hopefully get that competent mark. So yeah, it's much better. It has its advantages compared to university, where they use a different type of grading system. So just like to highlight, we've got 3 different assessments that we use throughout the course. We've got knowledge questions, case studies, and we've got practical assessments. I know someone commented why there isn't any work experience, and we'll kind of go into how we kind of supplement that. But the first assessment that we get, so in each unit, we've got 3 types of assessments, and the first one that you'll come across is the knowledge-based questions. Simply, it would test your knowledge about each of the units, and you're required to give short answers for each question. We've also got case studies as well. So in case studies, we give you a scenario, and we kind of test your application of the knowledge that you've gained in each unit. So we give you kind of like a hypothetical scenario, and you're asked to kind of respond to that, also through short answers and answers. Then we've also got practical activities. So the practical assessments mostly come in the form of role plays, where we give you a scenario where you'll be required to actually respond to that, like I said, through a role play scenario, and this is assessed with a trainer, and also in a lot of cases through paid actors that we have hired through TrainSmart Australia. So I'd like to go to this next slide here. So it's actually called our simulated practical service. So the idea is here that it's this added service that we recently introduced that allows students to book in time to complete their practical assessments. And we have a trainer on board. We also have a couple of paid actors who play the role of a real life client, and they act out real world scenarios where you're first of all briefed on the actual scenario, and then in the actual assessment, you're asked to respond to the issues. So it's a great opportunity to simulate what is actually out there in the workplace. You're able to do that in a really safe and controlled environment. You can see here recently that Roseworth gave a great testimonial about how she's really enjoyed the simulated practical service. Some of our recent student success stories, just like to highlight. So Chris Simpson started our course back in 2021. He recently, within a couple of weeks ago, he actually started his own business. So he's taken, started our own business and helping people with counselling and mental health. Chris Simpson he was one of those students who came from a project management background, so it was a big career change for him. Decided, he wants to give back, he wants to do something a little bit more meaningful. So he started the Diploma of Counselling with us in 2021. And it's now gone on to do some great things. You can also see Angie here, which is another recent graduate from TrainSmart who did the Diploma of Counselling with us and finished, I think, late last year. And she's now studying at university using her qualification as an entry pathway into a Bachelor's of Counselling. Great, guys. We're nearly at the end of our presentation. So if you'd like, you can start preparing your questions that you'd like to ask during our Q&A session. But before we get there, I'd just like to highlight that TrainSmart Australia are here, our career advisors are here to give one-on-one personal career advice. Our career advisors, they love to hear about your stories, your career aspirations, what your goals are, and you know, a big thing that they love to is just listen and discover what we could potentially help you out with. I know a lot of students have some great, and as we already experienced and as we already touched on, they've got some great stories that they'd like to share and about their past, and some inspiring stories about what their goals are. And you know, that's why our career advisors love their job. They just love hearing our students test their stories and looking at ways that we can help you get there. So there's a number of ways that you can get in contact with us. You can call us, you can chat to us online. We also got some email details that we can send out later. For anyone who is interested in enrolling with TrainSmart Australia, especially for this Diploma of Counselling course, I'd just like to highlight a couple of key things that you'll need to prepare for enrolment. So number one, you'll need to meet the academic prerequisites. So to do this, you'll either need to provide a Year 12 certificate or an Australian Certificate 4 qualification or higher, so a bachelor or a doctorate. If you don't have any of those qualifications, it's not the be-all and end-all, I suppose. So we do offer free learning, literacy and numeracy tests, and upon successful completion of that test, we can grant you entry into that course. So no stress if you don't have a Year 12 certificate or a Cert 4 qualification. There are still pathways to get into this course. You'll also need to provide some key documents for proof of identification, previous study transcripts if you have them. And once you've compiled all these documents, you can submit an application online with us. So yeah, like I mentioned, guys, we've reached the end of our session now, and we'll now open up to some Q&A. Just before we do, I'd just like to highlight, so this session is recorded, so we will send out a recording later to everyone who's registered for the event. We'll also send out a new course brochure that we've recently designed we'll be publishing next week, which will go into a lot more detail about the things that we've discussed today, and some more additional details as well. Yeah, so let's go through some questions.
Could you please explain regarding the practical hours required to become a licensed counsellor? So that depends on whether you're talking about the practical hours in this course, the amount of practical assessments you'll be doing, or are you talking about once you finish the course to become a member of, you know, an association? Could you just let me know, Alondra, which one you mean? Because as far as the both. Okay, yeah, sure. So in the course itself, all the counselling units, not every unit, but the counselling units have the practical component where you will do role plays. I always have my students do their first, you know, counselling unit, establish and confirm the counselling relationship. I have them do that role play with me one-on-one to just build confidence, you know, because the nerves are there and a bit anxious about, you know, being assessed. And it's the first time. So it's more like a learning tool as well, you know. And so that only takes an hour to do, and we do it on Zoom like this. All the practicals are done on Zoom. So you won't be thrown in the deep end where you'll have a qualified actor being the client and being watched by myself or another trainer. You know, if you feel that your nerves are, you know, too much, we will do those one-on-one, and they take an hour. So every counselling unit, 004, 005, you know, all those counselling, see how CHC51015, CSL is short for counselling. So for those type of units where you know, it's a counselling unit, you will be doing role plays, and they each go for an hour. So yeah, that's the duration of those, the time. For becoming a part of an association, it's up to the association to decide, you know, what the obligations are, what their eligibility criteria is. And so when it comes to that, they, you know, will tell you what you need to do. We don't stipulate that. Yeah.
With those, the paid actors you were talking about, Tracy, I actually did one of my assessments with the mental health unit with them, and they were actually really good.
Oh, was that with Linda, perhaps?
I'm not sure, but she told
she's
me
fantastic.
she told me I made her cry.
Oh, well, Linda's a very good actor, and she can, yeah, put on the tears as the client and that sort of thing. So absolutely, it's really authentic. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, very authentic. So that's good. Glad to hear. Thanks for the feedback. And let me see if there's any other there. There were, excuse me, a question about the assessment differences between Cert 4 and Diploma. There's not much difference in the expectancies there when it comes to completing your assessments. Like I said, there's 6 assessments. Well, there for Cert 4 in mental health, perhaps there's not 6, but you know, some of them cross over and they're exactly the same, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Can I just ask a question in regards to the, I mean, I understand with the TrainSmart courses now, they've all gone online. I was doing the Cert 4 where they're doing face-to-face, then we went on to online. Is it one day a week, 2 days a week that you do the online learning aspect? Like, how does that work with this one?
Okay, so it depends on, well, that's if you don't mind me answering. It depends on whether you join as a part of a cohort group where you prefer to come on and have one full day of theory with myself or another counselling trainer, and then you'll have one other day, which is not as compulsory as that one particular day, where you learn more of the skills. Okay. So yes, that you can enroll into a cohort where you have the 1 day a week, yes, except for public holidays and things like that. Then there's the choice of being an online student only, where you look after you organize yourself to do all your readings and watching YouTubes and such. However, you will get invited to short classes. Okay, and they won't be an all-day thing. I hold mine for my students of an evening, on a Monday and a Thursday evening, just for an hour, hour and a half, you know, on particular different units and topics that they can tap into. They're not compulsory. It's if you can make it. And, you know, if there's one that you really wanted to get to and you couldn't make it, I offer the recording of it, you know, so you can, you know, watch that for yourself to get help through that unit too. So there's definitely lots of support there, depending, you know, you have the choice of which way to go.
So just to clarify, I mean, my preference would be to do the, you know, come in with a trainer and with a group of people like I've done before, just the interactions. So that would be a 1 day a week that you would need to attend to get the tick for attendance. But then the second day within that week is, it'd be great if you come along, but it's not essential for you to pass the qualification.
Exactly, because we understand that people work, you know, are working, they can't have 2 days available. So you can get recordings of that second day as well. And, you know, we prefer you to come to every single, say it's a Monday or a Wednesday with that one particular theory day. We would like you to be there for every theory day. But, you know, if you get COVID, you get the flu, whatever the case may be, we understand. You know, you're not going to be docked or, you know, penalised, so to speak.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's good.
That's okay. Just checking there's no other question there. Not. Any other questions? well, firstly, there's a few more units in Diploma of Mental Health and Counselling. There's 3 extra. And it does focus mainly on mental health concerns and issues and recovery. So there are about 6 units that are the same in both the courses that cross over. But yes, they definitely end up going into specialising units where counselling concentrates on counselling therapies and theories, development theories, children and growth and their development, whereas mental health concentrates on mainly with adults with recovery. Yeah.
What would you recommend between this counselling and the case management?
Case management course.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's one in case management as well. Mental health does have a case management unit, as does ours. However, yes, the case management is far more in depth, obviously. It depends on the job role that you are seeking at the end. So your career path all depends on where you want to see yourself working.
As I said, I've just done Diploma of Mental Health, and I've enrolled to do the what's the name, Community Services Case Management, but I'm tossing up whether I should do that or counselling. I really don't know.
So case management deals more so with managing staff that are looking after the client. There's not a lot of one-on-one interaction with you and the client itself. Doesn't mean there isn't any, but if you were a case manager, you would be coordinating and overseeing everyone else that's supporting that client. It's yeah, it's a big job, you know, especially if you've got a high caseload. Yeah, whereas counselling, you are more, you know, in depth working with the actual client yourself.
Thank you.
No worries. I came up with some areas that you may have a question about. So, for instance, credit transfer, yes, if you've got exactly the same unit you've already done somewhere else, you will get that as a credit transfer and you don't have to redo that unit. However, a lot of you here have been saying you're working already in mental health or disabilities or in the community, you know, in that sector already. And perhaps there's a unit you feel, you know, I know this stuff. I do this in my job day to day. We have what's called recognised prior learning, where you can talk to your trainer about, you know what, I'm doing this and this is my resume. Have a look, this is what I'm doing. Do you think it's enough to cover me that I don't have to do that unit? And we will look into that for you for sure. So that's another thing that I just thought I'd mention.
And just on that as well, if like I'll have 7 units that I would have done through the Cert 4 of mental health. But if I was wanting to come along and just be present in the classes and interact, but not necessarily do the assessments again, that would probably be fun as well, yeah?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we're not going to say, oh, no, you've been given a credit transfer, don't come. No, definitely not. That would be terrible. No. Yeah, because the refresh is always good, you know, refreshing your skills, and having different trainers may bring up different experiences and information for you as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's through a different lens as well. Like one is
that's right,
mental health, and one is from a diploma counselling sort of lens as well.
Exactly. And, you know, there are also little topic classes that I send out as invitations. So perhaps on, you know, it's not on a particular unit, but it might be on domestic violence. It might be on suicide prevention and awareness. It may be on motivation, like I said, you know, different topics there. Yeah, just for interest's sake, and also if you're really serious about, being a counsellor, well, they're important to know about.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, done that one. Yeah, there was a question about them, you know, do you have to be a member of the Australian Counselling Association to be able to be a counsellor? No, you don't. It's not a legal obligation. All right, I don't think there's any more there, Randall.
Yeah, thanks guys for joining. And thank you, Tracy, Anne. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Tracy's not. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your insight into the course. Guys, I know there was a lot of questions there, and don't worry, we've got them all saved, and we will follow you up later, if not tomorrow, sometime next week. Like I said, we'll make available the recording and also our new Diploma of Counselling course brochure, which includes a lot more information about the course and can give you a really good idea if this course is for you. Yeah, so once again, guys, thank you so much for joining, and we hope to hear from you guys again soon.